Hey everybody, Bob Babbitt here, Challenged Athletes Live. Our guest today, one of my favorite people on the planet, the A-Train, Mr. Anthony Smith. Anthony, how the heck you doing?
I'm doing awesome today, man. Feeling pretty good.
We're a couple of days away from Father's Day, and I know you are a proud dad. Didn't your son just like qualify to get his black belt?
Yeah, he just completed all the adult versions that needed to get a black belt for an adult. He's just waiting to turn 13 now to get the full black belt. So he's considered a black belt right now.
So, as a athlete yourself, when you were playing sports through high school, college, when did you decide to go in the military?
Uh, I started, well, I was playing, I was at Alcorn State University,
Yeah.
and I was on mainly on the track team at the time. And out playing basketball, getting warmed up for a basketball tryout, and I broke my ankle.
Oh,
And after I came through that recovery of my ankle being broke, I ran into a guy named Captain Alexander. And at that time, my mom really couldn't afford me being in college, so I signed up for the ROTC program.
and ROTC. So eventually, you're a National Guard, and you get deployed to Iraq in '03.
Correct. I actually did active duty time first, then I transferred to the National Guard.
So when you go to Iraq, deployed to Iraq, what was that experience like before, obviously, before your injury? What did you, in terms of your duty, what you were doing over there?
My primary duty was what they call convoy special operations. So I ran special operations for the 1st Cav Division through the 39th Infantry Brigade.
Okay.
So we did like QRFs, like quick reactionary force, clearing areas for other groups to come through, and delivering supplies.
So April 2004, what the heck happened?
Well, we had been on a long convoy, so we had just got back in, and we were just settling in, and Camp Taji came under attack at that time. So we were all going to the bunkers.
Yeah.
And so when we got to the bunkers, there was a couple of people they couldn't give account for, so they asked me to go back and check. So I found them, and on the way back to the bunker, right when I made it to the bunker, they shot an RPG at the bunker, but instead of hitting the bunker, the RPG hit me.
A rocket-propelled grenade went through you.
Correct.
Right?
Right through my right, and it didn't explode. It went right through me and stuck in the ground.
Oh my! But if it had exploded, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
We will be having this conversation.
So at that point, they couldn't find you on the battlefield, right? Weren't you originally missing in action?
Correct. After I got hit with the RPG, I got hit with 50 cal rounds, and they dropped the mortar, which the mortar did blow up and buried me up under my combat buddy.
So you're under other bodies too, and
Correct.
so they send your records to the front because you're missing in action. They don't know where you are.
Correct.
And then they find you and put you in a body bag because you're dead.
Correct. They found me under my buddy Captain Felder. They tried to resuscitate me on the battlefield, and they couldn't. So they sent me off with the KIA list with the other litters. So I was placed in a body bag and sent to get transferred out.
And at that point, one of the medics or nurse came through and was opening the bags to get dog tags. Is that what she was doing?
Correct. I was attached to the unit, so they didn't have my full record set up. So she was looking for my dog tags because my boots had blew off because you have extra dog tags and stuff.
Right.
So they went looking for my dog tags. So when she unzipped the bag, she saw bubbles coming from my trach.
She saw bubbles.
Right. And so she went to the doctor and told her, I think this guy's still alive. And he said, well, that happens sometimes. Just zip the bag back up.
Oh, so because sometimes the bodies will sit up on their own, but the person is dead. So they still thought you were dead.
Correct.
Oh my
and
God.
So she said, no, you might want to come check this guy. So they come in, they find out like, yeah, he does have a pulse. So they got me on the table, but since my records had already went forward, they didn't know what my blood type was. So they ended up giving me the wrong RH factor, which set my body into shock, and I went into a coma for 62 days.
62 days in a coma, and obviously you don't remember any of this stuff. What's the first memory that you have of all of this?
The most everything that I'm telling you about is mostly what everybody told me.
Right.
My first memory that I had was, well, actually would be the last memory of the event.
Yeah.
Them trying to put me on a helicopter, and they're saying like, well, grab his arm. That was the last thing I remember. And in my mind, I was just thinking my arm was like hanging somewhere and they were moving it over. And then when I woke up, I found out I didn't have an arm.
It was gone.
So when they meant grab his arm, they meant like grab my arm.
The rest of the arm. They're like, yeah, grab the rest of the arm and put that. What were all the injuries? Because we're talking a lot of stuff. I
have TBI level 2, traumatic brain injury. I have a titanium plate back behind my cerebellum. My cerebellum's damaged. I'm blind in my right eye. T7 spinal cord injury. I'm incomplete. I lost my right arm. I lost my full right hip. Lost part of my colon. My right kidney. My knees were shot. My shoulders are shot. Now, because I received the wrong blood, I ended up not being able to fight off a lot of diseases. So I ended up with MRSA. And then the blood they gave me wasn't like good blood. I don't know how to say it in a nice way. So I ended up getting diabetes.
Oh, so it wasn't a good day.
No.
So when you deal with that, and I know you have a tattoo on your on the stump there, and what does that mean?
Originally the tattoo was turned this way.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, hey man, you got your tattoo wrong. I laugh. So I tell them like, well, when I look in the mirror, it's the right way. So it means though I'm beat down 100 times, I'm yet persistent and I never give up. Which is
that's the A-Train motto, man. You never give up. So, but there's a point after this happens where you're over 300 pounds, you're smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, you're in a motorized wheelchair, you're not the epitome of health, right? And you're at, I think, one of the military games, and you run into this crazy person named Nico Marcolongo who runs Operation Rebound for CAF.
Right.
And at that point, you felt that you really weren't getting any help from these military organizations. Correct. And you were pretty bummed about all of that. What did Nico tell you? And did you believe what he told you?
I'm going to tell you what he told me, but I didn't believe him at first. At the time, I was part of an organization that because my health stuff was going on at the time, they came back and took the bike from me that they gave me. They took all the equipment from me. They said I didn't look like an athlete. Didn't look like I was going nowhere with my athletic, because they took all that from me. And when I met Nico comes up to me and says, what do you want to do? And I tell him like, man, I just want to do something. He said, well, I'm going to get you a bike. And I'm like, yeah, right. And next thing I know, it was like, you know how a couple months pass and you kind of think about like, man, that dude was lying. And so him and my wife gets to talking to Miko. And my wife said, come on, get the guy a shot. And I was at the point where I was like, man, I'm just going to sit on my couch, watch wrestling and die, you know. And so I go ahead and get Nico to call, and Nico says, oh, we're bringing you the bike. That's why it ain't been mailed. So they brought me a bike out here.
They brought you the bike?
They brought me the bike. And it was like everything was on it. It was set up for one arm.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I'm paralyzed in my right leg, the pedals were set up so I like a lot of people tell, I wasn't the fastest rider at the time, but I could pedal.
So that, I mean, it's funny, people sometimes underestimate the power of sport. And you were a guy who was a football player, basketball, and you were martial arts. Sport was a big part of your life. Getting it back, how important was that for you to recover?
Oh, that was super important, because it's I felt I had a purpose, but I was having a hard time trying to figure out what that purpose was.
Yeah.
But then after more, because I call Nico my Italian manager. You know, so
Your Italian manager?
yeah. So the more we started doing stuff, you know, he kind of gave me that mission of like, not so much to try to get out there and win, but let other people see you so it can open the door for everybody else. And that gave me that mission. That's why they're like, man, why are you out here riding? I got in my mind, well, maybe if somebody in my position see me, then I can sit back and say like, yeah, they got that medal and I can be cheering with them too.
So from that, you end up going and riding, I think, 400 miles of the $1 Million Challenge from San Francisco down to San Diego. Eventually, you end up finishing that thing. You do swim run at the Oceanside 70.3, 1.2 mile swim, half marathon run. And you've done so many, and then more importantly, you got back into martial arts.
Correct.
And opened up some of your own dojos. How many dojos now do you have? And what belt are you now?
I have 17 dojos that are up under me. And I have 9th and 10th degree black belts in different styles.
That is and you're still competing too, right?
And I'm still competing. I'm on the U.S. Paralympic Tae Kwan Do team.
So you potentially could be going to the Paralympics in 2021.
Well, I really can't. Well, they don't have my division yet.
Oh, right. Yep.
So I was trying to qualify in a higher division, but you know, those disabled. I was just glad to be able to run with them and have fun with them. But you know, my disability ain't on the same level as theirs.
Right.
So they were better. They were just better than I was. So, but I got to roll with them though. Got to go to World Games. I got to medal in a couple of games, and now I'm down to 230 pounds, and I'm moving faster. And I just won Grand Championship international competitions in Puerto Rico. I'm the first disabled athlete to fight with able bodies to win that championship. Got 14 grandmasters up under me, 130 masters, and over 400 students around the world.
So the programs in terms of your dojos, it's to help kids really with their self-esteem, right? You're working with kids who might not be able to afford to be part of your dojo.
Correct. When Nico asked me what did I want to do, and I told him like get back into martial arts, but I want to be able to be something for the community as well.
Yeah.
So I teach free martial arts to all the kids that can't afford it.
That's so cool. I love that. And speaking of, since we are close to Father's Day, I tell people all the time about your miracle baby, because when you were blown up and they're trying to piece you back together, they didn't realize that you had had a vasectomy, right? And so they're connecting tubes. So they reconnect tubes, and next thing you know, your wife is pregnant, and you're thinking, where'd that come from?
Now, I was thinking almost my ex-wife.
And so then, when did you realize that they had put some tubes back together again?
Well, I got sick.
Yeah.
And I had to go to the VA for a checkup. And we were just haphazardly talking to the doctor, and we were talking about, I said, well, I guess it's a miracle and stuff. And the doctor said, well, let me check some stuff out. So the doctor went and checked me out. And I was at Brook Army Medical Center, and one of the things that wasn't sitting over to the VA to let me know was that they had reconnected one side of my testicles.
Yeah.
So I was able to have kids, and we didn't even know it.
So I bet Father's Day means even more to you because you didn't think you were going to be a dad.
Correct. A dad again.
Yes.
My oldest boy.
Yeah.
I got my older daughter Jasmine, my older son Anthony Jr., and then my next daughter Jada, Atlanta J, and now I got both. So
That is the coolest
he's been
thing.
one of my driving forces to get stuff done because I got to stay in shape to keep up with him.
So as a guy who certainly has lived this, how can sports unify people of different backgrounds? We're dealing with that right now, right? With with everybody, with what's happening in the world right now. How can sport play a role?
Well, with me, it helps develop a conversation. And because I'm able to develop that conversation, I'm able to tell people about hidden disabilities from PTSD to TBI and spinal cord injuries, and be able to talk about opening the doors for other people. And my story helps pull other people in. That if I could tell the story, then I can tell about other disabled athletes around the world.
So how can CAF be a strong ally to our Black athletes?
Mostly just getting it into these, because a lot of people don't know about challenge athletes, they just don't know. It's not that so much that challenge athlete isn't there to help them, it's just that they don't know. And I was cracking a joke with one of the challenge athlete guys. They said, well, how can we help Black athletes? I said, you can hire me and go around and tell them.
Right, exactly, right. Anthony, be the spokesperson, right there.
But I said, it's just about getting that information out, getting other, and another thing I tell people, they have to see us. So when other Black athletes see other Black athletes doing stuff, then they know that they can get into it as well.
I love it. Okay, so now we're going to move into rapid fires, short questions and answers. What's your best CAF Operation Rebound memory?
When Nico had me in, it was called the Austin State Tri. And Nico wanted me to try out this swim arm. It's supposed to help me swim better.
Yeah.
Like 100 meters into the swim, it like came off. So we spent like half the swim trying to find the arm because it cost so much. So like, and then I had to swim with the arm tucked up into my tri suit to try to swim. And so when I came out the water, I just came out the water and told everybody, hey man, there's alligators out there, they got my arm.
I love that. Okay, what's your go-to comfort food? What's your favorite food?
Milky Way.
Milky Way. What do you think has made you successful? What is it about you that's made you successful?
With me is just never giving up and just pushing myself, trying to get to that next level, and looking for challenges that'll help me get to that next level.
Is there a favorite book or podcast that you like listening to or reading?
Yeah, my favorite podcast is Roland Martin. He's one of the guys that come on and does a lot of talking about helping with the Black community, helping with getting the message out there to the community so they can be more educated in what they're doing. My favorite book is actually comic books. You know, I read a lot of comic books.
Yeah.
So my favorite comic book is Iron Man.
Of course it is. You might have to do an Iron Man one day. That would be a pretty cool story, having you come to do Iron Man. I would love to see. Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, I've been doing, most of the times I do like Ironmans, I've been on relays.
Yeah.
So my best one I did was Oceanside so far, where I got to do the swim and the run.
I know. And you've got a good bike rap background, so you could certainly do all three. Not a problem. What are the favorite words you like to hear from a coach?
Don't stop. Push yourself. Don't give up. You got this. Those are my favorite things I like to hear. If I don't, it's kind of like when you don't hear those type of words.
Yeah.
You kind of stop, because within yourself you think it's time to quit, but they can see more in you to keep pushing ahead.
So for challenge athletes who, you know, so many of our challenge athletes are playing wheelchair basketball and quad rugby and things like that. And right now they can't, right? Because of what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. What's your message to them to keep them going, to keep them pumped up?
Be creative. You know, find stuff around the house that'll make you strong. I told one guy, said, man, what do you do to stay healthy? I said, I clean my house up. For one, I turn that into exercising. I start challenges on Facebook, like 25 push-ups for 25 days, stuff like that, to try to keep me going. But just being creative about stuff around. And my sport's a little bit different than a lot of their sports, because I can individually train martial arts in my home. without having another partner or extra equipment.
Right.
So like the guys with weird, like I told a guy the other day, like get you a spinner, like put your bike on there and just sit at the house, and you might not be going nowhere. Get your video and watch the video and make it look like you're riding down the road.
Anthony, it's always such a treat to get to catch up with you. I appreciate you taking time. We love you as part of Operation Rebound and everything you've done for CAF.
Oh, and Nico told me, remind y'all to tell you, my slogan is, you can't keep a good man down.
You can never keep a good man down. Anthony Smith has been our guest, obviously a really good man and a great supporter of CAF. Thank you, Anthony, for being so amazing.
Thank you for inviting me, Bob.
Appreciate it.
All right.
This has been Challenged Athletes Live, everybody. That was Anthony Smith.
All right.